They were supposed to be fearless. They were supposed to be ruthless. They were supposed to be forged from the fires of hell and born to bring devastation to all life on earth. How the hell was she supposed to live up to that when she took one look at blood and wanted to faint? To say she was what her mother had least expected was an understatement. Katherine the disgrace. Katherine the weak. Katherine the gentle. These were all the shaming names she had earned from just her family alone. The Phoenix were not supposed to be the way she was. They had to be graceful and deadly. She was clumsy and nurturing. Katherine was everything that they were not. It seemed the only thing she did inherit from the Phoenix was their fire, not that she was ever capable of using it. Katherine couldn't focus on basic battle techniques, so she never trained with her find. She couldn't bear to be around the men and women they had captured from other tribes, so she never stayed long in the village. Katherine couldn't bear to look at an injured animal without yearning to help it. When she did help the defenseless creature, she always got burned by one of her sisters. She stared at a man, and she longed to help him. He was starving, his bones showing through his flesh. There were bags under his eyes from hours, maybe days of sleep deprivation. Her heart sank into her stomach. But how was she going to help him? Katherine could barely help herself. She looked around, trying to see if anyone could see her. Katherine was in a secluded area, and not very many people dared to come to the punishing grounds. She occasionally did, to feed the men and women that were being tortured. Phoenix, she scoffed to herself. The Phoenix were simple-minded savages. They loved to kill and torture, but they loved sex even more. Katherine was surprised that the women didn't choose to use him as a toy for their simple and carnal pleasures. She tugged at his shackles for a moment. They were specially made to only release with the Phoenix's fire. Heat was enough, though, and Katherine oozed with heat. She broke off the chain holding up his arm. He looked at her, shaking his head. "Don't," he whispered to her. "They'll see you." "Let them." She pulled off one of his ankles, trying to keep him balanced so he wouldn't fall. That was the last thing she needed. "I've been hurt enough." At this point, it doesn't hurt anymore. She tugged at his other ankle, then his wrist. When he was fully free, he collapsed onto her. She held him up, draping his arm over her shoulder. He didn't weigh much, and it was a sad realization. She walked forwards, carrying his weight on her. Katherine hated what her kind did to people. She wished they would listen to her. She wished they would heed her warning that something big would bring them to their knees. They didn't think anything was bigger than them. Stupid savages. The edge of the village was so close. Katherine could smell the fresh, unburnt pine trees calling out in sweet bliss. They beckoned to her, like a longing whisper from a dead lover. Their call, though, was not for her. It was for him, and she would get him there as safely as possible. "I can't walk much more," he whispered into her ear. "Just let me die." That wasn't an option. Katherine swept his small weight up into her arms, carrying him the last few steps till the edge. She sat him down on his feet, trying to look him in the eyes. It was too hard, though. Their phantomless gray pits called out for death and mercy. "I cannot go any further than this. Head into the woods and do not look back. We cannot follow you, but our weapons can." The Phoenix were bound to their village. Wherever they set up camp, they had to stay put. Unless the Phoenix were given permission by the tribe master to leave for battle, or if they were banished. She tried herself to escape, but she was forced back onto her ass by an invisible boundary. Freedom was not hers to be tasted. He didn't hesitate on her orders. He carried on as fast as he could, jumping from in front of and behind trees. "He wasn't much fun anyways," a masculine voice echoed from behind.